multiplying fractions. But before we get on to multiplying fractions and how you do it, I want you to practice some times table questions because you can never have enough of your times tables, and these will be really useful today. So in a second I'm going to press go, and the timer's going to start, and you'll have 60 seconds to do as many of the questions on screen as you can. If you haven't got yourself a pen and a piece of paper or something to write on and write with, you need to pause the video quickly and go and get that now, because otherwise you won't be able to take part. But otherwise, are you ready? I'm going to start the timer in 3, 2, 1, go! As your 60 seconds are up. Okay, right, here come the answers then. Once I've put the answers up, I'll put a little pause thing up so you can pause the video and mark all of your questions. So here are the answers to all the questions. And so I want you just to pause the video, mark them all up, and then unpause when you've marked. Okay, and let's move on. Good. Okay, multiplying a fraction by a whole number. So here we go. I've got a fraction, I've got a whole number. I'm going to times the two together. It should be pretty straightforward, this nice easy start really. First of all, we've got 3 times 1/4. Well, let's make some quarters from my little bar I've got here. So there are some quarters, and it says I need to do 3 times 1/4. Well, there's 1/4, so 3 times that will be 3 of them, won't it? Which is, of course, 3/4. Yeah, makes sense. Just 3 lots of 1/4 is going to be 3/4. What if it says something like this then? 2 lots of 2/5. Well, let's make 2/5 up. There we go. 2/5 of my shape has been shaded. I'm going to put that with another lot of 2/5. There's 2/5 of that shape, and it's saying 2 lots of 2/5. So there we go. There's 1 lot. There's 2 lots. Put them together, and what have I got? I've got this. Put them together. I've got 4 lots of the 5, haven't I? So I've got 4/5. Yeah, I think this is quite straightforward, isn't it? Really, if I've got 2/9, and I times it by 4, well, I have 4 lots of that, which will be 8/9. Yeah, and if I've got 3/11 and I times that by 3, I'll have a total of, well, 3 plus another 3 plus another 3, 9/11. Okay, so basically, if we're multiplying a fraction by a whole number, we only multiply the numerator, right? It's a bit like saying this first one, I have cut my pizza into quarters and I want 3 of them. I've got 3/4. I don't have 3/12. We don't multiply the top and the bottom. And also, if we did that, we just have an equivalent fraction. Our fraction wouldn't change, would it? So we're only multiplying that top number, that numerator. And here it is in algebra as the posh version. So a times b over c would be a times b on top and still just c underneath. You know, and there's my example that I did a minute ago. 2/9 times by 4. You just times the 2 top numbers to get 8/9. Okay, right, so keeping that in mind, I'll leave the example up there. I want you to pause the video and do these 7 questions quickly, or slowly, but, you know, or medium speed, I don't mind. But once you've done them, unpause and we'll just check that we've got the right answers. Okay, so pause now. Okay, you've done your 7 questions. We've unpaused, and remember, if I'm multiplying this, I just multiply the top. 5 times 1 is 5, so the answer is 5/6. This one, again, we just multiply the top. The bottom number is not going to change, so it should be 4/7. If I'm multiplying this one, it will be 5 times 2 on top, and the bottom will still be twelfths, so 2 5s are 10. So it's 10 twelfths, but simplify if you can. Now both of these numbers we can divide by 2. So I'm going to do that. The top will then be 5 and the bottom will be 6. All right, so if you can simplify, you should. Right, 4 times 2 is 8, so this will be 8 elevenths. 6 times 3 is 18, so 18 over 19. 2 times 3 is 6, so it's 6 eighths, but that can simplify. I can divide the top and the bottom by 2 to get 3 quarters. And look what happened there. When I times this by 2, the bottom number halved. Weird, huh? And then 3 times 4 is 12. And it's 12/13. Okay, hopefully that's pretty straightforward and you remember that from before. But what about if I'm multiplying together a fraction by a fraction? What does this even mean? Okay, well, let's think what in maths, what does times mean? It means of, usually. So 1/5 of 1/4. So take a quarter and get 1/5 of it. I'll show you what I mean graphically, right? So here is 1/4. I've shaded it up. There's 1/4. Well, I need to find 1/5 of this, which means I'm going to have to split my quarter into 5 equal pieces. There we go. It's the same quarter, just cut into 5, because I want to find 1/5 of the 1/4. 1/5 would just be one of these 5 slices. Right, so that is 1/5 of 1/4. But I need to put this as a new fraction, so I need to split my whole shape into these equal little pieces. Well, how many pieces are there? There are 20, and I've only got one of them. So my answer is actually 1 out of 20. 1 over 20. So what's happening here? This is what happens. Look, 1 times 1 is 1. 5 times 4 is 20. And it turns out that this is exactly what we do when we're multiplying two fractions together. We multiply the tops and we multiply the bottoms. So if I want to find 1/5 of 1/4, I need to do 1 times 1, 5 times 4. Yeah, make sense? It's quite straightforward, and simplify if necessary. I like multiplying fractions because it is the one thing you do with fractions that's really straightforward. So if I had 2/3 times by 3/4, well, that's 2/3 of 3/4. So the top will be 2 times 3, and the bottom will be 3 times 4. So 6 over 12. Now that simplifies. I can actually divide both of those, top and the bottom, by 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1. 12 divided by 6 is 2. So it's actually the same as the half, 2/3 of 3/4. And then 2/9 times by 4/7. Remember, multiply the tops, so 2 times 4. Multiply the bottoms, 9 times 7. 2 4s are 8. 9 times 7 is 63. And there's nothing that divides both 8 and 63, so that's my answer. So multiply the tops, multiply the bottoms. Okay, let's try 3 more. Okay, you can always pause these and have a go at these 3 if you want to, but I'm going to go straight through. So up to you if you want to pause and do them, or if you want to just run straight through. So 2/5 times 3/7. Remember, multiply the tops, multiply the bottoms. 2 times 3 is 6. 5 times 7, 35. Nothing divides both of those, so it stays as it is. 3 times 4, 3/8 times 4/5. Well, 3 times 8, not 3 times 8, 3 times 4 is 12. 8 times 5, 40. Now, can we simplify that? Yes, we can. I think both of those are going to divide by 4. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to divide the numerator and the denominator by 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3. 40 divided by 4 is 10. So it's the same as 3/10. Now my last one, 3/11 times 3/4. Remember, multiply the tops, multiply the bottoms. 3 times 3 is 9. 11 times 4, 44. Yeah, got the idea. Right, come on then. You do some. There's 5 for you to do. I want you to pause the video and then unpause when you're done. Off you go. we have unpaused. Right, 4 times 2 is 8, and 5 times 7 is 35. Okay, can't simplify that because there's nothing that divides both. What about 3/4 times 5/7? Well, 3 times 5 is 15. 4 times 7 is 28. See how the times tables are useful now? Speeds things up a bit. And there's nothing that divides both of those. Right, 5 times by 2 then is 10. 13 times by 5 is 65. Ah, right. Both of those numbers will divide by 5. Now 10 divided by 5 is 2. 65 divided by 5 is 13. Oh, that's interesting. Look, that seems to have cancelled out that. That 5 on top cancelled a 5 underneath to leave 2 over 13. Interesting. Right, 7/8 times by 3/4. 7 times by 3 and 8 times by 4. 7 3s are 21. 8 times 4 is 32. And there's nothing that divides by either, both of those numbers, so that's what it is. And last one, 2/9 times 3/4. Well, 2 times 3 is 6. 9 times 4, 9 4s are 36. I recognise those two numbers. They both divide by 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1. 36 divided by 6 is 6. What a lot of 6s. But it is actually the same as 1/6. 2/9 of 3/4 is the same as 1/6. I don't know. Siri seems to be talking to me now, and I have no idea why. So we'll ignore Siri. I'll go and turn off Siri whilst you do these questions. Now, because this has been quite a short video today, unusually, I want you to do all of these. Pause the video, do them all, write down your answers, and then we'll unpause when you're done, and we'll go through the answers and just see if you've got them all correct. And then you can send your score to me on Show My Homework. Either send a photo of your work, or if necessary, just write down your score. But a photo would be awesome. I like seeing your work. It shows me that you're really doing some stuff, and there's not, this shows me that I'm not wasting my time, I suppose. This is really good. Right, okay, so pause the video, off you go. We have unpaused, and I've turned off Siri, who's probably going to start up again now. And here are the answers. So mark your work then. There's the first column. There's the second column. There's the third column. Hopefully you got them all right and didn't forget to simplify. If you did forget to simplify, just make a note for next time. You could always check that your answers are equivalent. So for example, for this one here, you might have put 24 out of 36, but it does simplify to 2/3. Now you can have a mark for that, but you really should be simplifying as well. Fully simplifying, not just part simplifying. Okay, right. Well done. Let me know what your score is, and I'll see you again next time.